For a lot of people who don't know, my first like big break and my first actual like achievement was being signed to, you know, Sony Epic Records. That I used to be in a group called Menudo. We were the new reincarnation of them, and we were actually the last group to actually be formed under the name. The reason Menudo ended was because the owners of the brand Menudo Entertainment were thieves. That's pretty much what it was. They were liars. They stole every single penny that was ever funded into them. We never made a dime. 5 members, all of us, we were opening up for Jonas Brothers. We were on the Jingle Ball. We were on tour with Chris Brown and Marion and everything, but we were sleeping 4 kids to a room in a shitty motel room. We never made 1 dime. I remember one time for Christmas, the bastards had the audacity to give us each $1,000, a check, and said, "Merry Christmas, guys," and taxed us on it. They pretty much took every single thing. There was always one of their representatives on tour taking each and every dime. There was a lawsuit that was going on between Sony Epic Records, and they were suing Menudo Entertainment because before the group was actually formed, the name itself had a deal with Epic Records, and this was probably 7 years prior to us being formed. So there was a big ass advance check that was given to them. When it came down to, we recorded over 80 records, everything from down to Danger, down to Timbaland, down to Red One, down to Ryan Tedder, down to the biggest of the biggest. And when it came down to actually paying off those people, hey yo, where's that advance we gave you this and this much time ago? They were like, whoa, what money you talking about? And then boom, that's when the lawsuit happened. They had to drop us, of course, because you know what? There's an investigation going on. There's a lawsuit that's pending. There's no way we can push this group. So when that happened, 2 of the guys that were they were under the age of 18, so they were automatically voided from the contract. I was stuck for a good 7 months, and they wanted to play with me, and they wanted to keep me as long as possible. So I told them, all right, hey, you know, present me with a new contract, and I'll stay in the group. Idiots released me from my contract, and I said, deuces, I'm out. And I continued the rest of my life. I'm proud of it, and I praise God for it, for putting me in that position to where I can actually say I learned the ins and outs of a label. I started choreography and dancing and all that stuff, like, you know, picking all that up when I was in Menudo. I got so many fans. I got to travel the world, and I got to perform and got to do all this stuff. That's the only thing that I took from it, and that was good enough for me. As far as income, as far as anything else, no, I just realized that people were full of shit, and, you know, people can give 2 craps about another kid's, especially a young kid's dream. So from there, I took that with a grain of salt, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this all on my own.
Plus, we were used to getting so much money that I didn't want to go back to the backpack $1,000 show.
That's great that you find me attractive, but I root myself and I pride myself more on the fact that I'm intelligent, I'm actually talented, and I'm probably one of the coolest people you're ever gonna meet.
There's a funny side to me. For so long, it didn't come out because it was just like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn and I'm tough and I'll punch you in your face, which is absolutely true to this day.
I'm Puerto Rican, that doesn't mean I do reggaeton. You know what I'm saying? I barely speak Spanish like that. Like, I make music that sounds like Gangstar, like Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, like that's what I do.